So remember that power isn't taken, it's given, something in small, silent ways. All summer long, we're exploring what it means to come back to ourselves with softness, joy, and radical cariño.
Sabrosura pa' ti que.
Welcome to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast que comparte nuestras stories sin censura. I'm your host, Pam Covarrubias, and this is a special series called Verano con Self-Love. All summer long, we're exploring what it means to come back to ourselves with softness, joy, and radical cariño. From healing calladita culture wounds to romanticizing our daily lives, this season is about choosing you every single time. I know the world is falling apart and everything's on fire, and more than ever, I do believe this is a time to tend to ourselves and take care of ourselves. Let's dive in. If you've started making your cafecitos at home to get on with that morning routine and build the habit of saving money, it could be a good strategy. Pero there might be an easier way to save. Did you know that if you open a new savings builder account at BMO, you can earn a $5 reward every month you grow your balance by $200 or more during the first year? Learn more about how BMO can help you grow your savings by visiting bmo.com/save. bmo.com/save. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank and a member FDIC. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Un Verano con Self-Love. This is a 5-part storytelling series where I take you through my 5 love stories, some romantic, some platonic, some about me, some about parts of me. Each one reflects a different wound of calladita culture and what it means to reclaim your voice, your worth, and your heart. Yo soy Pam Covarrubias, and remember, these are not perfect stories. They're real, they're tender, and they're here to remind you that healing is totally messy. It could be funny, painful, and beautiful at the same time. So grab your cafecito, get comfy, and let's begin your summer of self-love. El día de hoy, finally, we are with the last wound. El tóxico with the wound of power. I met El Tóxico in our oral comm class. How ironic. He walked in late, bouncing his basketball. And he was not traditionally handsome, but you could feel him enter the room. He had this kind of magnetic charisma that made people turn their heads without knowing why. And when he walked in that day, he looked right at me, smiled, and I felt it, the tiny jolt. Not love, just awareness. A few weeks later, I gave a speech in class, and it was supposed to be 10 minutes, but I spoke for 15 minutes or more. And my speech was about tea. You've probably heard me share this story because I was obsessed with tea in college, and my professor didn't stop me. He said that because I was so passionate and animated, he was like, let's just keep her going because it seems like she loves this topic. And afterwards, El Toxico came up to me and he was like, yo, you were great. And he looked at my hand and said, are you married? And I laughed and said, no, I am actually engaged. And then I got this disappointed little smirk. And I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning. Sometime later, I broke my engagement for other reasons. Maybe that's another story I will tell you another time. And like clockwork, he noticed. He saw the ring was gone, and that's when the game began. Without even realizing, he started courting me. Subtly, smoothly, charming texts, perfectly timed compliments, long conversations, and walks from class to class. He wasn't pursuing me, he was pulling me in. And I hated how much I liked it. The relationship and the details of The whole relationship are quite blurry right now, probably because it was all very emotionally disorienting, and I'm pretty sure I've blocked parts of it. But what I do remember is this: he was a wolf in sheep's clothing, soft on the outside, manipulative underneath. He would ghost me for days, then call me nonstop. He would love bomb and then withhold affection completely. He played me like a yo yo, and I kept coming back for more. At one point, I asked him, "Why can't you just be for me?" And literally, this is something I will never forget. He looked us straight into my eye and he said, "Because I can't." That should have been it. I know. That should have been the end. But I was already in too deep. I had fallen in love with the potential, with who I wanted him to be, with the idea of proving that I could make someone like him choose me. And in doing that, I gave him my power. He actually had a reputation and everyone knew who he was, except me apparently. But I did know, but I didn't want to believe it. And this was one of those relationships where my friends would be like, "We'll be here next time." Like they knew I would come crying back. And I did more than once, many times. Every time I would catch him cheating, every time something like that would happen, they would be like, "We're here and we'll be here next time." And still, I stayed. Eventually, I moved far, 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 far away to be with him. I packed up my life, I relocated, and started over. We're gonna live together. Actually, my whole apartment from college that he moved into was moved there. And that's where I met La Claridad. La Claridad was a friend of one of his friends. We went on double dates. We hung out. We shared dinners. She was cool. She was Mexicana from Monterrey. And when you are living in a place that's really, really far and there's not a lot of people like you find someone who is like you and you immediately click. She was quiet. She was observant. And frankly, we would only hang out as the double dates. So she was always with the other guy, and I was with El Tóxico. And one night, the guys were upstairs, and her and I were in the kitchen alone. And if you've listened to the episode called Forgiveness, this is that story. We were in the kitchen, and out of nowhere, she looked at me with this scary, clear, calm demeanor and said, "Look, if you stay, he's going to give you a ring. You're going to have his babies, and then you're going to become me." She told me how she had put up with everything, with all the cheating, with all the manipulation, with all the gaslighting. She told me she used to be soft like me, and now she was numb. She was strong, sure, but she was also heartless, cold, gone. And she said, "You don't have to become me. You can leave now." And what I realized is that the other guy wasn't actually her husband. Her husband was deployed really far away, and she was having fun. And I left the next day. I woke up early, wrote a letter, and read it to him out loud in the car on the way to the airport. I thanked him for the lessons, for the heartbreak, for everything he taught me, even if it broke me first. And then I got on that plane and never went back. That moment wasn't just the end of El Tóxico. It was the end of all 5 wounds controlling me, at least in love, at least in love. In that moment, I reclaimed my power. I used my voice. I honored my worth. I remembered who I was, and I committed to me. Weeks later, yes, I know you're wondering, like, what happened? Did he just stop talking to you? No, he didn't. He contacted me. He kept trying, and of course, it was like, I love you so much. And so the true end was when I told him, look, if you love me the way you say you do, you have to understand that every time I hear from you, it hurts. And if you love me the way you say you do, you don't want to hurt me. And so the only way not to hurt me is to stop calling. And I want you to prove it to me that you actually love me the way that you say you do. And the only way to do that is to stop calling. And he did. Didn't hear from him for a long time. Then later, many years later, he tried again. But at that point, I was much more strong, much stronger. And the boundary was so much easier. So remember that power isn't taken, it's given, something in small, silent ways. Every time you don't listen to yourself, every time you betray your gut, every time you fall for potential instead of presence. Because taking your power back doesn't require revenge, I promise. It requires remembrance. We all know this. Talking about money is not always the most comfortable. Pero our friends from Savvy Ladies make it easier. And now in Español. You don't have to feel the pressure to translate for your mamá or your tías because Savvy Ladies has their whole site en nuestro idioma. Y ahora they can easily access their free resources like talleres, clases, y mi favorita es la línea gratis para enviar preguntas. Their free financial helpline en donde puedes conectar with a trusted financial expert. Whether you need financial guidance in English or in Español, Savvy Ladies is here to support you. Visit savvyladies.org, that is SAVVYLADIES.org para empezar your financial freedom. So the experiment of this week is to write down one thing, one time you ignored your gut. Then write a little something to that past version of you, to the version of you who stayed, to the one who wanted to be chosen, maybe the one who thought love had to hurt. And once you've written that, you can say to yourself, I see you. I know why you stayed, and I choose us now. Read that out loud. Let it be the spell that brings you back to your power. Oof, can you believe we finished the 5 stories? OMG. But we're not done. There's a bonus story. So next time, we are going to have a bonus story with El Sol. So if you're tuning in on Café con Pam, then stay tuned for the next story when it drops. If you are binging, see you on the next episode. Please share this with someone you love and care about. And leave comments, ratings, reviews, stars, all the things. Stay connected on the socials at Café con Pam Podcast. And all the places and spaces, cafeconpam.com. Y bueno, como siempre, sigue leyendo.
Sabrosura pa' ti que